Welcome back. I'm David Nelson for the Traders Network show, broadcasting worldwide from the New York Stock Exchange for iHeart Radio and equities.com. We're here for an event being hosted by the United Nations Sustainable Stock Exchanges Initiative. My next guest is Dr. Zhan, who's the Director of Investment and Enterprise Position at the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development. Doctor, welcome. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, David, for having me here.
You're welcome. Doctor, you have a PhD in international economics. You're also the executive director at the United Nations for the conference of the CTAD. Dr. Zhan, you hold a number of academic positions as well, and you regularly appear on international media. How important is using the international media to formulate and get the message out that you'd like to see for the initiative?
It is very important. Media is the crucial mean for us to communicate to the world. After all, for the United Nations, for our organization in particular, that we're supposed to have the mission of alleviating poverty. We're supposed to do good for people worldwide. But then what we are doing is in a special area, which is investment policies, entrepreneurship policies, and for many types of work that we are doing, like for the sustainable stock exchanges, they are not well known to the world. That is why we need media to communicate to the wider community, to mobilize all the development stakeholders to support our initiative, to push us to move further. And so that is very important. Also for them to understand what we are doing is for them. We are from them, we are for them.
There were several proposals made in today's luncheon when you were speaking, and there was much talk about the way companies report. And one of the things you and I had talked about off camera was integrating SDG, or Sustainable Development Goals, into the report. Where are we in the process today?
For the Sustainable Development Goals, at the moment we know that the leaders worldwide are going to endorse it or to commit to it. And then there'll be a challenge. One of the major challenges is that if you don't have the funds and you don't have the goals, meaning no money, no achievements of the goals. Therefore, financing of SDG is a major challenge. According to our analysis in our World Investment Report 2014 that was submitted to the UN General Assembly, we estimated that there is a huge gap for financing of the Sustainable Development Goals. Roughly, it's about $2.5 trillion annually for developing economies. Overall, we need $5 to $7 trillion annually. And how can we get that? There's a paradoxical situation. It's not that the world does not have the money. We know that there's excess liquidity. We know there's a huge pool of financial resources is in almost $200 trillion. But how to get this financial assets into the Sustainable Development Goal sectors? How to turn the money into productive capital and to channel it into the Sustainable Development Goal sectors like infrastructure, public services, health, education, is a big deal. Secondly, there's a challenge for how to promote environmental social governance behavior of the firms, that to mainstream these issues into their business models, namely responsible investment. We call it CSR, corporate social responsibility. So on the one hand, we need financing, investment in the SDGs. On the other hand, we need to promote sustainable development related business models.
There are two enterprises that have to come along with your vision. Certainly the stock exchanges would have to endorse that, but also it goes down to the companies themselves, the members of the exchange. Which exchanges are leading the effort today? How would you describe what's taken place so far?
Yeah, it's interesting. I would like to look at the stock exchange worldwide today into three segments. One is the advanced countries, mature markets. We have NASDAQ, New York, London, Deutsche Börse, the Japan, for example. This is one group. The second is that the advanced emerging market stock exchanges. That's the South Africa, India, Brazil, Turkey, for example. That's the second group. The third group will be those that are less developing countries, and we have the newly members like Vietnam, we have Kazakhstan, we have Laos, and we have Nigeria, Kenya, Peru. These are the third categories. Now, interestingly, in the area of corporate responsibilities in ESG issues, corporate sustainability reporting, in fact, the emerging market, the advanced developing countries market,
Really?
the stock exchanges, they are leading the movement because they are moving from voluntary to mandatory. And they have a lot of best practices in promoting ESG issues, promoting integrated reporting. And we have advanced countries' stock exchanges that they are still following more or less the voluntary approach. And then we have all these least developed countries or less developed developing countries, I said, the new stock exchanges. For them, they are still working very hard on developing the financial market itself, while they have a good political will to follow the best practices to take care of environmental, social issues, and then they need to learn.
Let me ask a follow-up to that, because it brings up, in terms of companies, two types of companies: an emerging company that's listing on the exchange for the first time, and maybe a more mature company, one of the stalwarts of the exchange. Is it true that the newer companies that are coming in, they're more apt to endorse the principles? And if so, their costs are probably going to be higher. How do you bring the big companies on the other side of that along for the ride so that everybody's on the same playing field?
Yeah, that is what our Sustainable Stock Exchange initiative is doing. One of the functions for us, for this initiative, is to help all those new stock exchanges to have the best practices, to learn from the other stock exchanges which have already been having this international best practices in promoting responsible investment. So that's what we are doing through the capacity building, through the exchange of best practices like today we have, that you yourself, David, you witnessed that. So this is the way that we do that. We also formulate guidelines to advise the countries to use them, to follow that. So this is another way of helping them.
Dr. Wells said, we're out of time. We're actually at the New York Stock Exchange. They're going to shut the doors on us. Yeah. Any last words for the UN and the initiative?
Yep. Today, as you know, that I was chairing this event, and I was one of the founders of this initiative with other colleagues. My observation of what we have been doing and what is happening in this field, the Sustainable Stock Exchanges movement, is that we reached the stage we need to gear up. We have a new set of challenges, which is a little bit different from what we have in the past. Let's see, in 2009, when we established this initiative. At that time, we were promoting corporate reporting on sustainability issues. And we know today most of the firms, especially the largest firms, according to our statistics, they report in one way or another on environmental and social issues. We call it non-financial reporting. Now, we have reached the stage that we need to do two things. One is that to ensure that corporate reports on non-financial issues, on sustainability issues, are effectively used, which is not yet the case. This is an important tool, integrated reporting, but to use effectively for the development society or development stakeholders to monitor the performance of the firms, and for firms to exchange best practices, we need effective use of that. The second challenge is harmonization of the standards for the reporting. Because for the time being, there's a proliferation of standards, the private standards, industrial association standards, but we need to harmonize them in order to have integrated reporting system so that the reports can be comparable. So we can analyze the report, we can benchmark all these performance, we can have meaningful index worldwide. So these are the two challenges to carry the initiative forward to take it to a new height. So that is the consensus of this event, as you see.
It's an enormous challenge. By the way, congratulations on the event, Doctor. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, David. Thanks.
Thank you. That was Dr. Zhan, who's the Director of Investment and Enterprise Position at the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development. By the way, a quick thank you goes out to 1-800 Public Relations for all the PR and media support. Thanks for joining. I'm David Nelson.
I should thank also 1-800 company for their excellent job. I did that at the event. Now I wish to say it again, and that we really appreciate their contribution.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.